welcome to another show of the Dog Moms. My name is Chrissy Joy.
I'm Amber Aquart.
And we are passionate dog moms that are also trainers, and we are here to share some cool information with you based on the pet roulette.
That's right, we get 4 topics, and we don't know what we're gonna talk about before we talk about it. And we only get 4 minutes to talk about this topic, but it's all about our dogs.
That's right, so we don't even know what's up here. We are not scripted. We haven't been prepped in that kind of way. So you're getting some real off-the-cuff answers here.
Absolutely.
Now, we're gonna get started. You have the clicker, we have topics to hit. And again, we have 4 topics, and we only got 4 minutes to answer each. And then we get to answer some of your questions at the end of the show. Are you ready?
Right. We ready to get started?
Let's do it, because man, it can go all across the board with this. So let's see what we can get. Ooh.
Wow, dog-friendly home design.
Hey, this is actually really good timing because I think you have some cool news.
That's right. We have our first house that we're going to be moving into in like the next 2 weeks, which is crazy.
Gosh, that's crazy.
But I'm actually so excited to like make this house not only a house for our home for our family, but for our pets too. And I have so many ideas. But us as dog trainers, I know we like to have a couple of different things that most people don't look for, like rubber matting for training. Oh, she's gonna drink my drink.
Hey, she was thirsty, you know. This is
all right. You know
really
what?
for the dogs.
This is the Dog Moms. Help
We're
yourself.
gonna have to do a cheers later.
No, thank you. Dog-friendly home design. I should have put a water bowl down here.
So yeah, so obviously Whiskey says having mugs with lovely water and Perrier and
Clearly.
I'll start with a couple things that I really love. First of all, I love the fact that I have a doggy door that opens up to a sectioned part of the yard, so I have some control of where they're going. And that gives a lot of freedom for them. And I love my muddy mat.
Oh yes, that's a. I feel like that's a must. It's kind of funny because we're getting our new house, right? And they have carpets on like the basement level where the back door opens.
Guys.
And so before we move in, our first course of action is taking the carpet
Get it out.
because when dogs shed and the mud and everything, it kind of gets a little stinky.
Yes, it does. And you have to like wash your carpets constantly if you do that. And there's no Roomba out there. There's no self-cleaning system that is going to be able to get into the grooves of those carpets and floors, honestly, if you have a multi-dog house.
Yeah. Now, I have tried those washable rugs because it's like, oh, pet-friendly rugs. Yeah. But I found that like vacuuming them was really difficult. And so I'd actually rather vacuum like an actual rug. Yeah. So that's my plan. But I think something that's important, which every dog parent must relate to, is that we always have to make sure our dogs have a spot in every room, right? Right. So we'd like to have a dog bed in certain areas, and making sure I have access to treats is really important for me too. Do you have any like tips or things?
Sure.
That you'd like to
I think that's right. You know, right up the alley. I have the treats like kind of in the central station, so we all can get to it if we need to give our dogs treats. But to be honest, another thing that I really look forward to my dogs is I give them. Like outside on the deck, I give them like orthopedic pet beds, but they're raised off the ground because it gets really hot on that deck. Right. So like if you're getting into summertime with your dogs and you haven't already tried it, like go and test your deck's temperatures and make sure that like it's not too hot for your dog's paws. And if it is, try to make some amends to cover that so that it's safer for your dog when they're going to be outside. Yeah. And that goes for your older dogs too. If it's a little slippery, you might want a runner. Even if you have all hardwood floors, you can kind of, you know, structure it so it's friendly for your dog. If you have an older dog, maybe get some sort of nice, you know, little steps for them to get on that maybe looks nice with your home. Doesn't have to always look like dog gear. Right. So, and they make like crates that are part of your like entertainment system.
That is literally what I have in my house.
Yeah, do you like that?
I absolutely love it. Okay. It's like a big like TV
it.
credenza, and people come over our house and they don't realize it's a dog crate.
It's a dog crate.
It's got like these little barn doors which are so pretty, and the dogs just go in there and they hang out in there. It's their special spot.
And it's saving you space. Yeah. Which is another thing. I mean, I don't know if you struggle with this. It's just how can we save space when we have pets? Because it always feels like we end up having, you know, another container here. We end up having another food thing here. Before you know it, you don't have as much space that you need. So finding those ways to kind of integrate it into the furniture you already have is super helpful. And I love gates. So I love using gates in my home design. That helps separate the dogs if they need to, or if my child wants to play in one area and the dogs can't get to it, or vice versa, we're having mealtime.
Yeah. One thing that I have had to kind of instill with my dogs is like you were mentioning about the hardwood floors, but also with stairs, especially with the older dog. Yes. So like having those little grips on the stairs has been super helpful for him, because getting up and down the stairs can be difficult as dogs get older. And even if they're not older, just the hardwood can be slippery.
It can be. There are so many options out there. But that is a little touch on dog-friendly home design.
Yeah.
And in the end, you buy them a bed, they end up sleeping on the floor.
Right, I know. It's like with the cats. You buy this big cat tree, and then you get
and they sleep on the floor.
box.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like that's all they want. Is that all of our time?
Kids do that too. That's all of our time.
Oh, okay.
We have to move on to the next topic.
Here we go.
Oh, good one.
That's a big topic.
Cool. This is a good one.
Yeah.
I'll
go?
kick off because I feel that you have so much experience with this. So I can lightly touch on where I learned, the best I learned with my dog, which was I had an instinct to have everybody say hi. You know, my first few dogs were very friendly and very outgoing. So why can't this dog just be as friendly? And this is how it works. You're supposed to love it, right? And that's not always how you should do it, right?
Yeah.
And it goes both ways. You know, some people might be a little cautious around dogs too. So it kind of goes both ways. But you had a very different experience with your first dog.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny because all of my dogs are so different. My first dog was fearful of new people, and that was something that I had to really work through because when you get your new dog, you're like, I want everyone to meet my dog. I want my dog to love everyone. And I think a lot of people who have dogs will resonate with that sometimes your dog either loves people too much or sometimes they don't love meeting new people. Right. And so I actually had different experiences with them. He loved people. And she was just like indifferent, doesn't want to be touched by people. So I have to respect how my dog feels about people. But I think the biggest thing when you're introducing a dog to a new person is first understanding your dog and then not putting the pressure on interacting with the person. Right. So when they're around a person, whether if your dog gets overexcited and jumps or if they get intimidated, if your dog could just be near the person without having to actually interact with them, that's the best thing you can do. So teaching neutrality around people is so, so important. I feel like people always want the dog to go up to the person or be pet. And one of the biggest mistakes I made really early on in my training years and with my fearful dog was I thought that if I give someone a treat because he loves food,
and you're making this
that
positive
he was
connection.
getting a positive association with people giving him food. But without me realizing it, he was getting really close to a person to take the food, and then he felt like he was too close, and he would bark and back up and be scared. So it's one thing people try to do to help their dog, but they don't realize it's putting the dog past their limit. So if you do want to help your dog with new people, whether they're jumping or fearful, sometimes just tossing the food on the floor to give the dog the ability to walk away, and they can choose if they want to come closer or not is really important.
And I do agree. I think that also, don't be afraid to tell people when you're out and about with your dog that no thank you. Like, this is not the time to pet this dog. This is not the time to approach. I know he's so cute. I know he's little and fluffy and he looks so sweet, but we're training right now. And I feel that a lot of pet parents, not trainers, we tend to be like, we're comfortable saying that for the most part. But pet parents are like, I don't want to be mean. Right. Like, you know, it's just a kid. But, you know, honestly, for the longevity of your dog to maybe build this relationship where they can say hi to people, don't be afraid to say, hey, you know, we're training right now.
Yeah,
you know,
and you could even ask the person, especially if your dog's a jumper or an overexcited greeter, you can say, hey, yeah, I would love for you to meet my dog, but I'm trying to train them. Would you want to help me train them? Right. And 99.9% of the time people say, yeah, sure. Right. And you can kind of give the person the instructions of, okay, can you just take these treats and toss it on the floor, and I'm going to let my dog come up to you, sniff you, and then I'm going to call them away. Yeah. And you can bend down, you know, let your dog approach you, but don't put your hands over my dog. I think people are a lot of times willing to help you out if you ask them. That's true. Rather than expecting them to know what you want them to do.
That's right. And I was using these little signs that attach to your leash that are green, yellow, and red. And it's supposed to help, like, just be able to communicate from afar if this is a dog I can approach, or maybe do with caution, or please don't approach right now. So there might be little subtle ways that if your dog truly is reactive and truly struggles in these environments, and every little moment can kind of take away some of your training, if there is kind of like an interaction, you can use something like that to maybe help communicate from afar. And don't be afraid to do that. And also, one thing that I enjoyed doing is letting my dog approach someone on their time, and that seems to smooth some things out.
Yeah, and if it's in your house, management is like key. So gates, crates, leashes, all those things can help you feel more comfortable when having new people meet your dog.
That's right. Yeah. Wow, what a loaded question. That was a really good one, though. I think a lot of people can get some good information out of that one, for sure.
We could talk about it forever.
We can. I don't want people touching me all the time. Like, go away.
All right, which one is it? New environments. This like fits perfectly.
This fits perfectly with that. Because new people, new environments, that can go very hand in hand together.
That's
you know,
true.
New people and the way they approach that or don't want to approach it can be very similar to how a dog can approach or not want to be or be overstimulated by.
And I feel like when specifically, like you can talk about this for ages because you do a lot of set work with your dogs, right? And so your dogs at a very young age are exposed to tons of new environments.
Oh, so much. And you can't always prepare for that. You know, I have to be honest. You can't always replicate the camera moving and the sounds and the crew and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I'll start very early on. I'll make a playlist of different sounds that you'll hear on set, which includes what the big flashes will sound like or clicking sounds and kind of desensitize at home first. And this can be like if you intend on bringing your dog to your kid's soccer game or whatever it is, there's going to be cheering and maybe like, you know, sounds from the stadium or whatever it is, or even the bleachers. You can start to play with some of these sounds at home and just play them at home just to desensitize a little bit, to generalize that this sound does exist in the world and that you can make it a party. So you don't just play it and let your dog just sit there. Like, make it fun, make it something really positive.
Yeah, I think that's huge because you're preparing the dog for the new environment in an environment they're already comfortable in. And on that note, you can also take things your dog is comfortable with and take it to new environments. So having a routine set in place or having like a set of games that you do whenever you go new places, there's a lot of really cool games you can do, like, you know, tossing the treat, come back to me games where the dog is more focused on you than the new environment. Right. And that helps dogs transition to new places so much because instead of thinking, oh my goodness, there's all these new things, there's cameras, there's lights, you know, there's this crowd cheering, there's this car coming, and there's all these overwhelming things. A skateboard goes by. You can get the dog to instead work with you and focus on you. And I think that those types of games and that type of engagement really helps dogs build confidence in you.
Yes.
And then the environment becomes secondary.
And you have to think about it. You know, there's things called trigger stacking where like your dog will go through a couple of chaotic things and seem to be fine. And all of a sudden something's going to happen, like the skateboard surprising them, and it blows the whole scene. And they're like, you get the real truth out of them that they are overstimulated, they are stressed out. So that's where like one little trigger, they're able to cope, but it's actually kind of like compiling into this massive trigger of stress. So, you know, one thing I say is that like we have a dog-friendly bar by our house. It's really nice, and they play music there all the time. But you know, I was gonna go with my dogs, but the first time I decided to go, I actually stayed on the outside of the bar, and I just walked them from a distance to let them hear because the bass of this stage that they had there, it was so loud that like, you know, also I wanted them to hear that from a distance to make sure they were okay with it. And that was something that, you know, if I had just brought them in there, we could have had a whole different scenario, and it wasn't worth costing my dog's wellness just for my needs of just wanting to go in and listen to music.
I think that's like such a great point because, you know, as dog lovers, we want to bring our dogs with us everywhere, and sometimes environments are not always the most suitable for dogs. So as long as you have like a game plan and an escape plan, but also a plan to help your dog feel comfortable and confident, whether that be bringing something that they're used to laying on, bringing a bone to chew, playing a game with them, and then if your dog is showing any signs of being overwhelmed, maybe like being willing to adjust your plans if necessary.
And sometimes like yawning can be a sign of being a little overwhelmed. It could be extra panting. It could be body shaking, trying to take that stress off. Pacing, right? Anything, it even can get to extensive drooling. Anything else?
It could be so, I mean, if your dog is like acting one way and then all of a sudden they do something odd, like all of a sudden your dog just starts sniffing the floor, won't stop sniffing the floor. That can be a sign of anxiety. So it's important to know your dog, know their limits, know their comfort level, absolutely. And then making sure you're taking those precautions where when you're going to a new place, you keep an eye on how your dog is feeling. Don't just expect them to adjust right away.
So well said. It's true. New environments. People want to take their dogs everywhere, so new environments are all the time. You just got to take it in baby steps.
Okay, next topic. Here we go.
Oh, leash skills.
Skills.
Good.
Nice.
It's a good one.
Yes, it is.
I'm terrible with leash skills because my dogs are always off leash. I get in trouble all the time. I'll tell you guys a little bit something here. I get in trouble so much so, I won't name the park, that they literally are like, Chrissy. And I'm like, what? And they're like, your dogs have to be on leash. And I'm like, come on, no one goes to this back trail over here. Come on. Like, they know me by name now. They're like, Beasley, get back to your mom.
Oh my goodness.
Like, but we know each other well. And I go on the off hours and no one's ever out there. I know, shame on me.
Bad,
so my
bad
leash
dog
skills
mom.
are a little.
Bad dog mom. I do love taking my dogs off leash, but leash skills is way harder than having your dog off leash. I will say though, I think one thing that's overlooked with leash skills is a lot of people, they use short leashes and they don't utilize long leashes. This is literally like one of the easiest
like
hacks
the 4-footers.
ever. If you get like a 10-foot, 16-foot leash and you can like feed that leash in and out, you'd be surprised about the amount of dogs that like don't pull anymore because they
get a sense of freedom. Exactly.
And I think that that's important to give your dog that time. And then if you want your dog to stop pulling on leash, guys, like listen for a second.
We're getting real.
Okay, just pay attention, all right?
Oh.
If your dog...
It's the Amber Hour. Here we go.
If your dog wants to see a tree, they want to sniff something, and they're pulling to go see that tree, and then you go and let them sniff that tree, what did the dog get for pulling?
Yeah,
they got what
he
they
wanted. Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So, I mean, our dogs are just doing what works for them. If your dog is pulling, they're not badly behaved, they're not being rambunctious, they're being a dog.
Right.
Dogs want to explore, they want to sniff things, they want to pee on things, they want to chase squirrels. But we have to make sure that we set our expectations appropriately, right? So if my dog is pulling a tiny bit towards trying to smell something and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're pulling, like, have a little bit of
your battles. Pick your battles.
Have a little patience and then pay attention to what you're reinforcing along the way. You can absolutely use treats to train your dog.
Yeah.
You can teach them to walk nicely on leash. You can use all the tools in the world. But if you're using all these tools and all these treats and then they pull to go sniff something and you allow them to go sniff it, you just reinforced that behavior.
You did. So if you can remain the rewarding factor in all of that and build some distance between those things, that's good. But also, you know, for people at home, don't make the simple errors. You know, we get caught up in those long lines and we want to just wrap them around our wrists, you know, and that might work for your little dog, but still it's risky because God forbid you get stuck between something, the dog pulls you off your feet, or you guys get entrapped, entangled in something, or anything that could happen. You don't want it wrapped around your wrist. So don't do anything that kind of puts you in harm's way as well. And if they really pull, give yourself a nice little rope burn, depending on the fabric.
Yes, been there.
Yeah, me too. And so that's kind of where, like, mind your leash skills with how you choose to hold that leash and what type of leash works for you. You know, there are bungee leashes that are great for some dogs, terrible for others, because dogs see that as like the human trampoline. So they're just going to use you to bounce off of it. Yes. So you want to keep in mind the type of leash you choose. Now, if you could only have one leash, do you have a favorite?
I literally use like the tattered, like nasty leashes. I actually love to have a leash that could like, it has a clip on it that it can clip onto something.
Nice.
Because I like station my dog's places all the time. And so if I can just like clip it onto a table or clip it onto a thing when we're going out and about, it makes things so much easier. And then I can clip it around myself too.
Right, good point, good point. So the versatility is a big one for you.
Yes, very big.
Yeah, that's a good one. I really like the short ones that are meant for dogs that are going to be running off and hiking.
The little ones that go around their head.
The little one that goes around their neck. And the reason is a lot of times in where we live, at least, my dogs are always off leash. So whether it's a field, a hiking, whatever it is. But if I quickly need to get them back, I slip it over their head and I've got a leash.
They also have like those little tab leashes people can attach.
Those are nice too. I just always get worried, you know, gonna get stuck in it,
one last thing about leashes and leash skills is that I think people need to remember that leash skills start inside your house.
They do, or in a facility.
You have to practice inside before you add all the distractions of the world.
Definitely.
And teaching your dog what you want from them and without the distractions before you go into the real world.
That's so true. We do have our 2 questions that were sent from our amazing friends and fans out there. We will be answering your questions here, and we each get 1 minute to give our hopeful good answers to these. I never know what we're gonna get. Do you want to kick it away this time?
Sure. All right. I'm too short for this.
Reach, Amber, come on. There we go. Oh.
This is a good question. I promise it's not a bad question. I just laughed because
there are no bad questions.
Okay, sorry, that was
bad
really
answers.
It's a good question. I just laughed because of what it is. You'll find out and you'll be like, oh. Ethan from Scottsdale, Arizona says, is it weird to make a social media account for my dog?
That is hilarious.
Any tips on how to start one? That was funny. See, it's
First
funny.
of all, mild obsession. Second of all, you have to be a little crazy. Right? I think we can both follow those characters.
I don't think it's weird. I think it's common.
Not anymore.
It's common in our world.
Like, I think if MySpace and you were making your dog profile, people would be like, what?
My dog has a LinkedIn too, by the way.
Your dog has a LinkedIn.
I did as like a dare.
Did he have a
once.
LinkedIn?
He did have a LinkedIn.
Oh.
It was for a dare. It was for a dare. I promise it was for a dare. Okay, Ethan, it's not weird. Specifically in this space, depending on the spaces you're in, they might think you're weird. But I will tell you, you can make a full-time living on your dog's social media.
It's a career. It can be a career.
People will laugh at you until you're bringing home the big bucks, and they'll be like, wait, you just make videos with your dog and you make that money? It's not about the money. It's about sharing what you love and what you enjoy.
Yeah.
I have a social media account for my dog,
Yeah.
and I had an account way before that, and I was posting on my account for like years and years and years. And then I made an account separate, specifically dedicated to that dog. And like, she's famous now.
Yes.
And I'm.
Oh. You have the cutest butt, and you have the coolest.
Are we having a little?
But you don't have no nuts.
Is this our little? Oh, our little
I'm so
secret
in love
performance.
with you.
That was
good timing. Good
You can
timing.
find that single that hit EP there. That is from Amber Carr.
All right, I need to work
Check
on
it out on Spotify.
my singing skills a
We're
little
gonna
bit.
have an album drop.
Anyways, do it. People will laugh at you. It's worth it. It's really fun to make a social media account.
That's right. I've heard like people just say post the content. We get so in our heads about post it. Oh, I think twice. Or oh, what are those people that I'm worried about? What are they gonna think about me? And the truth at the end of the day is like post the content. Post the content.
Just
And
post
the more
it.
authentic you are these days, the better.
I will say we wouldn't have met if we didn't have dog accounts on social media.
We would have never met. And so it's wonderful that we were able to meet and celebrate our dogs and build friendships. And now look where we are.
Singing
The Dog Mom
songs
Show.
about my mutt. And now we didn't say how to start one. Just start it.
Just start, like I said, just post
do
the
it.
content. Just start it, honestly, and make sure it's something that you enjoy. Make sure you're having fun doing it. If you're not enjoying it, you need to give yourself a
Yeah,
break.
and if you're looking for ideas, then just look what other people are posting and make your own version of that.
Exactly, but dogs are cute, so you can't go wrong.
Nope.
All right, here we go. This is Priya from San Jose, California. How can I build a stronger bond with my dog beyond just walks and playtime? That's a great one.
You go ahead. Lead
You
the
want
way.
it? No, you go ahead. You kick it off.
Okay, I forgot the question.
Oh. Okay, I'll.
Okay,
All right, I'll go.
I forgot the question, so go ahead.
It's like a Dory moment. Okay, so great. But beyond walks and playtime, how can I strengthen that bond? I have dogs. It really depends on the dog that you do have. First of all, I have dogs that will thrive in a sports environment. So other ways that we bond together is trick training and really encouraging them to use their body and mind, playing sports, meeting friends with their dogs and doing some play dates that we know the dogs will get along, and booking some travel for you and your dog and your family to have some new experiences outside the same old. And honestly, my dog's just like coming down to like Rita's and having a pup cup for like ice cream, like just those little tiny experiences. Remember, it's your first time experiencing this life and world. It's also their first time. So, leaving them home, although is an option, bring them along if you can. And if you can work them into some of your adventures, that's a great way to strengthen that bond.
Oh my goodness, what to add to that?
You have
That's
so
amazing.
much to add.
I mean, I would have to agree, like finding a game that you really love with your dog and your dog loves is super fun. That could be a dog sport. It could also be something like a special routine you have together. I honestly, we are a little biased. We're dog trainers, and training honestly is one of the best ways to bond with your dog, I think, because you're not just teaching your dog how to do something. That's not what training should be. Training should be about you and your dog doing something together and learning together and learning each other's language. So you're not just like teaching your dog to listen to you, but you're learning how to also listen to your dog, and I think that's one of the best ways to bond with your dog.
That is so great. And of course, it's to each their own as well. So that wraps that up. If you want to send in some of those questions, please tell us what's burning on your heart and soul. Send it to us, dogtv.com/thedogmoms. We're so thrilled. Thank you for being here for our episode of The Dog Mom Show. I am Chrissy.
I'm Amber.
And we will see you next time.
Dog moms, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?